Welcome into the show today, everyone. I hope that you're having a fantastic week. It's me, your host, The Unhinged Father, here on the podcast where we pull no punches and frankly talk about whatever the hell I feel like talking about that day. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Today I wanted to tackle a subject that's been weighing very heavily on my mind. And actually, as I've started this podcast, I've gained more and more an insight into this world. And what I really wanted to talk about today was just social media. Now, for me, social media is more so on like the Instagram and the Facebook side. I have not delved into the bowels of hell of TikTok, and I don't think I'm ever going to do that. I just can't bring myself to go there, at least right now. But as I've started this podcast, part of the way that people said, hey, if you want people to actually listen to the podcast, you need to get out there. You need to utilize social media to get this message out to other people. So I created that Instagram page, created a Facebook page, a Twitter, an X, and really created all of these different pages that were supposed to be revolving around the podcast. And as I've been doing that, I've realized that, man, I fucking hate social media. I really hate trying to put stuff up and get things out there. Like what I actually enjoy is sitting down, doing the podcast, long format content, for people to listen to that will, hopefully bring some humor, some laughter, potentially bring some benefit to it, but is real as it could possibly be, me sitting in my office talking to you guys through the fucking internet. Social media is just so fake. Everything that I've seen on there, and now with like the advent of reels and AI, pictures, all that stuff, everything is just so fucking fake. And it just makes this imaginary world that people live in. I find myself doom scrolling, just spending more time reaching in my pocket just to fucking look through and scroll through to see if I'll find that random video that's going to make my day or make me feel like I've found something cool and unique. A lot of the videos that have been coming up on my reels have just been either these people that are just fucking terrible or just these super positive assholes that that they're just completely full of shit. That I have this weird thing where if someone's life is so perfect or someone seems so perfect, I'm like, they must have something really fucked up with them. Like they must be a serial killer or have some sort of weird addiction or hurt people. Like no one is as perfect as a lot of these people present themselves. And it's really creating this just unrealistic expectation of what your life should look like. The people that have their shit all together, or their like house is always pristine, or they don't buy any fucking processed food for their kids. They're in super great shape. They eat whatever the fuck they want and they're still in great shape. They say whatever they want. They can quit their job. They can spend 3 hours in the morning meditating, doing yoga, cold plunges, all that stuff. Like it just gets to be so much, and it's addictive. We come back to it. We keep on looking for more, something different. We feel like we're learning something from it. And I think that at a certain level, you can potentially learn something from a social media page, or you can utilize it for education or betterment of yourself. But the way that it's set up, it's just so difficult to get past that doom scrolling, to just swipe through. And then all of a sudden you spent 2 seconds too long watching some stupid asshole eat like a big blue lobster and like fucking smiling at the end with some weird ass music. That wastes your time. That's not something that you need to see. It's extremely childish. It doesn't add any value to anyone's life unless you think that that's funny. Maybe you go through and you like seeing people act like complete dipshits and that's funny to you. More power to you. For me, I think that this trend of social media is taking society in a completely skewed direction. And I'm part of the problem. I'm not sitting here greater than thou, because I get caught in that shit too. And I don't know. What are some of the stupid videos that I've seen that I've actually watched? Like some guy who just like eats giant gummy bear shaped things, pretends to eat shoes. Some other asshole who likes put hot sauce all over everything and like eats that. I don't know why everything has to do with like eating shit. But there's also, the people who live this perfect social media life, this perfect Instagram life, and come from the perspective of trying to be helpful, but the way that it comes across a lot of times, it just creates, like I said, these unrealistic expectations and puts a sense of shame on you, or how come I can't do this like other people can? Or maybe you were fine with the way that things were going within your life. You were content, and now you're not contented anymore. And maybe that's the bigger issue here, is that social media creates this culture of disillusionment, not being content with your life, not being happy with what you want. There's always reaching for more, something better. There's a better way to do it. There's a better way to keep your house clean. There's a better way to raise your kids. There's just this constant pressure coming from your phone, from your app, from these people that you don't fucking know. And it can be unbearable at times. And just let me be clear, I'm not talking about, your Aunt Gertrude who has an Instagram account and posts like 35 pictures of her cat every week. There are real people that are on there, and real people post stuff, and it's a good way to keep in contact with people. I think that's what initially, when I first got a Facebook a million years ago, that's what I was utilizing it for, was for that connection with within the personal. But it's because of the advent of the influencer, you have so many accounts now that are trying to be influencers and that are trying to curate this specific image that goes out to everyone and curate this this vision of what they're trying to portray. And that's kind of what I'm talking about within this. So don't misconstrue, right? You've got your Instagram account and you've got a couple of followers and you follow people. I'm not talking about you posting the latest pie that you made last weekend, or, your trip to Disneyland with the kids. That's not necessarily something that I see an issue with. It's more so that influencer culture. But I will say that even some of the real people, like quote unquote real people or real influencers, or even just normal people like you and me, it can become so dramatic and dramatized on this platform. You'll have a video of a father influencer or a mother influencer, and it just talks about the time you have with your kids, and they play this just super sappy music in the back, and they're trying to be real, they're trying to be personable and draw on these emotions. But to me, it's just like watching one of those fucking dog commercials where Sarah McLachlan's Angel is playing in the background, this super sappy ass music, and this super sappy ass vision that pops up. And this is the real aspect of it. And I get that. I'm sentimental and I can get emotional, but it just seems like everything is so dramatic and everything is just so amplified within these platforms. And we tend to find ourselves falling out of reality and living within this platform. And like I mentioned before, the stuff that I'm seeing, the videos I'm seeing, are just so fucking childish. People eating what they want, or looking to see if there's lights there, or if electricity will work. This one guy just talks about public flow and public glow, and he's like, yeah, dog, 100 million times. And who knows if that's really his personality. If that is, great, you do you. But I almost feel like people dumb themselves down to go onto social media and just do whatever the fuck they want. I mean, to me, it's almost like you're whoring yourself out. And it's not lost on me that I'm sitting here doing a fucking podcast, and then I started an Instagram account for the podcast and all that stuff, and was doing videos, recording myself talking about the podcast, or sending out GIFs or memes or whatever that would be. And I'll probably end up having to keep on doing that because this is just the way of the world. This is the way that things work. But it really was the shittiest part for me. I hated sitting down and recording myself talking about certain things, in terms of a video, or trying to figure out, how am I going to get more people to watch this, or more people to see this? How am I going to get within the algorithms? That was not fun to me. That's not why I'm doing this. Like I said, I'm hopeful that this podcast will provide more than what you can get in a fucking 22-second video that has to catch your attention within the first 2 seconds. I'm hopeful that if people are listening to this, they're listening for reasons beyond just I'm doom scrolling through Instagram and randomly find some video of someone chopping up vegetables in a weird way with the sound turned way up so you could actually hear the chopping. It's doing that really kind of gave me a different perspective into the world of social media, and it wasn't something that I liked. It also seems to be creating this society, and this is I call it the car effect, or the keyboard warrior. It definitely seems to be creating a society that's more explosive, a society that's more aggressive, more in your face, more ready to just, throw down and fight with people as opposed to actually listen to different points of view and try and figure stuff out. People have this false sense of security sitting behind a computer and not being within the real world. And I still always go back to, there's plenty of people that I meet, talk to, that just have this arrogance and this sense about them. And I always joke that those are the people that, when I was younger would have been taken out back and taught a lesson and probably wouldn't have been acting the way that they are right now. And I'm not sitting here and advocating for violence. That's not what this podcast is about, but there is a certain old school mentality that I still hold on to that I think is valuable and does teach a lesson. Even coming from me, a quote unquote millennial gentle parent, there are people in this world that I think deserve to get smacked in the mouth to learn that they can't do or say all of the shit that they want. And there are real world consequences. We're not living in the metaverse. We're not living in the computer. The words that you say, the actions that you take, they have repercussions. In the real world, those repercussions can be very painful. So what do we do about it? That's the real question. I'm just sitting here talking about it, complaining. I'm one of those negative asshole influencers right now, just talking about how this is fucked and social media is terrible and it's ruining our society and, get off my lawn, you kids, all that good stuff. But what do we actually do to change it? And I don't actually have the answer. I have no fucking clue because I don't think social media is ever going away. I'm not sitting here and talking to everyone because I think, hey, let's all just get rid of social media. Fuck it. Let's go, burn our books. Let's make a big book burning circle and throw our phones in there and burn our Instagram apps or Facebook. They're not going away, but I guess the solution, and I don't know how we achieve it, would be how do we become the masters of our social media again? Probably back like it was when 2006 when it first started coming up, MySpace and Facebook. How can we become the masters of it and utilize it for the goals that we want to achieve as opposed to letting social media become our own masters and ruling the lives that we're living? For me, I deleted it off my phone. Got rid of all of the social media apps, and I've done it before, but I just really would find myself, especially right now, it's been a tough season of life. I'd get distracted or I would have some sort of awkward feeling or like a uncomfortable feeling, and I'd reach for my pacifier. I'd reach for my phone, pull it out, scroll, catch myself, put it away, but then I'd find myself reaching back in it for again. So I just went through and deleted the apps. I still have them on like my computer, and I think that if there's a time where I want to utilize those apps, I'll go back and reinstall on my phone, maybe on the weekends, or I'll just, only time I can use it is when I'm sitting at my computer. So it's a very thoughtful thing. I'm actually thinking about using the app and not just going in through and scrolling and, not paying attention. So that's potentially one solution. I also think just curating what it is that we're watching and what we're looking for. And that kind of brings me to another issue with it. And one that I know has been talked about quite a bit, but just like the actual app itself, not even the content, just the app, just the program, just the software, whatever you want to call it. It is just such an addictive product. It is designed to make sure that you can't put it down, that you're constantly looking, that you're seeing people that, it's looking to see what you're looking at. And it kind of puts you in like this fucking wind tunnel where you're only seeing shit that you like, stuff that relates to what you've been watching in the past or the way that you think politically or comedically or, emotionally. All you're seeing is, I don't know, stand-up comedians, or all you're seeing is like HGTV and, ways to make your house better and fucking Chip and Joanna Gaines. Or all you're seeing are a bunch of fat asses sitting down and eating whatever the fuck they want and talking about how, don't tell me what to do because you're just being fat phobic and you're just afraid of this full figured body. I can sit here and eat 2 pounds of buttered lobster and it's not going to hurt anyone. The program is designed to keep you scrolling, to keep you coming back. These hits of dopamine, I'm sure you've all heard it before. I don't know how everyone else is handling this. And in terms of just like all of the other regular people, I'm sure there's lots of people who are not addicted or like get in and fall in, but it's happened to me before. I'm sure it's happened to a lot of other people, and I've seen the impacts from people that I do know who are on social media, and just that's almost become another world that they live in. I don't know how you combat that, right? You can't combat these big tech companies and get them to change stuff. They're doing this because they want more people on their apps. They want more people living in that world. That's how they make their money, advertising, all that stuff. Again, I don't have a solution, and I'm not just sitting here trying to bitch and moan, but I think that it's a conversation that needs to be had, not just at this high level, right? You always hear, the guru asshole, super positive people talk about how, they only have a flip phone and they don't use their smartphone or whatever, which they're completely full of shit because they have this Instagram account with 500,000 followers and like they're posting a video every fucking day. So I don't know. I'm throwing it to you. Unhinged Nation. What do we do about this? How do we take back our lives? Is it really that big of a problem? Or am I just sitting here on my soapbox talking about this shit because I got nothing else to talk about this morning? Let me know, because I truly do struggle with it sometimes. And I have found myself getting pulled away. And like I said, part of this process of making the podcast, like, it really is shitty. I've been sitting there like, how do I get people to watch this fucking video? What stupid thing do I need to do? Like, do I need to fucking get a G-string and run around my house while I'm unicycling and, eating a giant pink Dorito and make sure that like you can hear the sound of me crunching on the fucking chip and then smile at the end where my teeth are being shown? Like, this is the shit that I fucking see. And is this the stuff that I need to do to get people to actually listen to the podcast? Because ultimately, I don't give a fuck if people go to the Instagram page. I want people to be here. Like, this is the forum that I'm hoping people will come to, will listen to, and eventually interact with. This is where I find my creative outlet, and I have to utilize social media in order to get people to come here to where this outlet is not just me talking to two of you every week or every other week. Like I said, I pose that question to you. Let me know. Reach out, shoot me an email, or write. If you're on Spotify, there's like a Q&A at the end. I want to hear. I want to know, am I the only one who fucking thinks like this, or are other people out there seeing these same things and having these same issues pop up in their lives? Because for me, I think at the end of the day, social media can be used for positive ways. There's like book accounts that I follow and parenting accounts I follow that have some good information. But I think also when we let it just run completely out of control, it's draining us. It's making us be discontent. We are constantly looking for the new thing, and we're living within a world that's not real. When I see people at concerts or some sort of event, and instead of actually watching the event, they're watching it through the lens of their phone camera, it pains me. And same thing for me. I mean, I fall into it with my family, right? Now, it's great to be able to have these photos and videos later on, but if you're constantly watching the world through the lens of your camera, you're not truly experiencing it. This way of living can drain our life force, and it's leading us to live a life that's not really a life. It's taking that away from us. And I take that back. It's not taking that away from us. We're giving that away. And I'm guilty of it as well. Like I said, not trying to sit here on my soapbox. It's just something that's really been weighing heavily on my mind. Wanted to kind of chat about, because maybe I'm just missing something. Maybe I don't see the solution, and maybe someone out there, and maybe one of you guys knows what's up. So like I said, let me know. And that'll do it for this week's episode. Not going to do an unhinged rant this week, just because I feel like that was one fucking large unhinged rant that we just went through. Nothing this week in terms of the unhinged rant. I hope that everyone has a great week. I hope that y'all enjoyed this episode. I think I'm going to be pulling back from that social media a little bit, at least right now. I just don't see it being beneficial to me as a person, and it's really draining. And so I got an ask for you. If you're one of the 6 people that listen to this on a fairly regular basis, I want you to share this with someone. If you think it's going to be beneficial, I know I've asked for it before in the past, but if you think that this show can be something that would be beneficial for someone else, or that they would actually like it, I'm going to throw that challenge out there. I want you guys to follow me on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and I want you to share it with someone. Have them listen to one of them, pick whichever one was your favorite episode, see if they enjoy it. I'm going to continue making these podcasts. Probably going to pull back from that social media unless, my viewership drops from the 7 of you that are, the faithful down to like 2. And then I'm like, oh, fuck. Well, I probably should, I guess I am going to just go ahead and get that unicycle and that fucking leotard and start driving around and acting like a complete dipshit just to get people to listen to this fucking podcast. That, or like I said, OnlyFans is always still an option, man. I've got those Hobbit feet. You know, we can start one of those Husky Father OnlyFans accounts. I'm just joking. Again, I appreciate all of you. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Fantastic weekend. For all you Niners fans out there, good luck this weekend. We'll see how you guys do. You know, I know that for me personally, the only people that I'm rooting for this weekend is Jason Kelce. Jason Kelce fan through and through. I hope that he wins the Super Bowl. Other than that, as always, be good, try hard, do your best.